waiting on my boy Lando. He should be here in a minute. He has some family in town. It's kind of holding us up a little bit, but Lando will be here. He will definitely be here. But first off, guys, hey, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It means a lot. Hey, in your attendance here, like my boy Steven says all the time, your attendance, press the like button. That shows your attendance here. Also, guys, just a few quick, like house cleaning things here, guys. You guys know I have my own, line of a clothing, guys. So it's called the Do You merch, man. So Do You stands for Don't Be Afraid to Fail, Outgrow Your Environment, Understand Your Brilliance. Hey, go to NinosCornerMerch.com, get 10% off anything in the store using the promo code NCPeeps10. Again, NCPEEPS 10. So, guys, as I'm waiting here for Lando, we're going to basically talk about the Texas versus the OU game, some things that we can see that can be improved here. And then also after that, guys, we're going to follow up on Lando's channel to actually talk about the Cowboys win here. So we got a bunch of stuff coming up here, guys. It's going to be a great show, a great episode. But to start off today, guys, Lando's one of those guys when you see Lando, man, he's like a guy that you want to drink a beer with. And so I'm going to start off today with showing you a beer that I'm drinking today out of West Hartford, Connecticut, actually Bloomfield, Connecticut. It's actually Thomas Hooker Brewery. Good beer, man. Plum cherry sour. I know it's a sour. People are like, it's a sour. Yeah, it's definitely a sour, but it's a good beer. So you'll see me sipping on that from time to time once Lando gets on here. But guys, let me check the comments. Let me see what everybody's talking about here, guys. Hook 'em horns. Yeah, hey, IT Mac Pro. I get you, man. Military men are never supposed to be late. You're totally right. What's the old saying, man? If you're on time, you're late. Well, yeah. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, don't show up. So hey, I showed up though. But we will definitely be talking some Texas football, man. Definitely about the offensive line, definitely about the defensive line, definitely about just the lack of play from the secondary. What things can be addressed here? All right, hey Mike, what's going on, man? What is going on? Hook 'em from San Diego States, yeah. Hey man, Killer Minded Music is always on here, man. Thanks for showing up. And look, my boy Lando is in. Lando. What is up, baby? Oh, look at him. He's getting all set up.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Lando, man, I hear you, man. I just started maybe 3 minutes ago.
I got the notification. Boy, I got the notification bell turned on. Come on now. I'm tuned in every time you go live.
Yeah, man. Up, hey, man? Brother. Hey, I was telling everybody every time I listen to like Lando, it's one of those guys that you want to have a beer with. So
yeah, Lando, man, I appreciate that. Hey,
man, I got my beer raised up to you.
I don't even have it here. This is to you. It's a gallon of water.
I'll be drinking that after I drink this beer.
I just sprinted home from the parents' house, man. I was watching the Cowboys game with my dad. We had some distant relatives, like I said, in town from Pittsburgh. So sorry about being late.
No, it's all good, brother. It's all good. All good. Hey, folks, and if you haven't been to Lando's show, man, the Lando Show, great YouTube channels, great for not only Texas content, but Dallas Cowboy content, Mavericks content. If you name it, if it's anything that has to do with Texas sports, Lando is your guy, man. So go to his YouTube channel, subscribe to it. Hey, I'm a guy who actually has this channel. It's always in my notifications as well, man. So definitely go check him out. Great content.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man.
Very much appreciate that.
Yeah. So, guys, if you know anything about me, it's all about talking Texas football. All right. Mm-hmm. So, Lando, man, tell me your thoughts on this past game, and I guess this blunder, man, of a letdown.
Yeah. So, I'll say this. First of all, I'm about 120% better on Sunday at 6 o'clock than I was on Saturday around 6 o'clock. But nah, man, Steven, I was there. I had the great pleasure of being there with Steven and Homer yesterday. So that was a blast, just breaking down the game, literally live as it's all happening and unfolding and taking in the atmosphere together. The fans definitely didn't disappoint. The energy in the stadium definitely didn't disappoint. The game, the end result obviously did. So that's why we're here to kind of break it down and figure out why and like Steven said yesterday, just have a therapeutic,
A
talk through
therapeutic
session,
session
man.
going on
So,
right here, man. Hey, man, I'm
um,
gonna tell you my thoughts. Oh,
yeah,
the
let's get
defensive
into
line,
it.
brother. The
Mm-hmm.
defensive line. I was talking to somebody about that today, and they were saying that we need to recruit better on the line. And I say I don't think it's a problem of us recruiting better on the line.
Yeah.
Those players that we have, whether it's Coburn or Collins or Broughton or Myron Warren, the guy that I don't know why he can't see like the two deep. Who else, man? Ojimo. These guys were,
Sorrell got a
yeah,
lot of work yesterday too.
yeah, man. Byron Murphy. These guys were wanted by everybody in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Sweat. All these guys that I just named, maybe minus one, were offered by Alabama down on.
Right.
So, like Sweat was offered by Bama. So was Collins and Broughton. So was Coburn. So you're looking at guys that were nationally top 150 guys who everybody in the country wanted. I think, man, the problem is the player development over the past 3 to 4 years, actually since Max the last couple of years, has been so lacking here on this team
Mm-hmm.
that it is just carried over. So just talk about that for a minute, man. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm glad you asked because wow, I just now realized you got the new logo, the Nino's Corner. That graphic is sick,
Brand
man.
new, man. Hey, yeah,
I
man. Hey,
love
man.
it.
Appreciate
I
it.
love it. That's
Appreciate it.
that's slick. Yeah, I would say, man, Jacoby Jones going down early. I haven't heard a lot of people mention that
Yeah.
as as a potential run stopping factor in that game, in which like I said, Texas was gashed for what was the final number on the ground, 336,
It was
something like
something
that,
ridiculous. Yeah, man.
something crazy. So I think that definitely hurts, and it's no knock to Jet Bush, who got a bunch of snaps filling in for said Jacoby Jones. But it just seemed like there were, first and foremost, there was a tackling problem yesterday.
Oh,
That was something that Steven and I and Homer all had. Every time from the very first drive. Rodney Anderson. OU's running back, slipping my mind right now.
Brooks.
Yeah, there you go. I'm still in a Cowboys emotional high, so I'm trying to like lock it in here. I think he ripped off like 3 or 4 on his very first carry to the outside. You might remember he broke 3 or 4 tackles for a 20-yard gain or something like that. And I looked over at those two, and I basically just said, "There's a tackling problem on this team," and we saw that persist throughout the remainder of that entire game, even on that long run. When Caleb Williams first came in on that 4th and short, I mean, Jaron Thompson was in position to make the play. He just didn't break down and make the play happen. So, like to your point though about the talent, I've always said that while the talent is certainly not the issue, I would say that the defensive line, or at least in the trenches as a whole on both sides of the ball, that if you could point to one weakness in these the most recent recruiting classes, that to me is the answer. And we're seeing, like you and I have talked ad nauseum about the effect that Bo Davis is already having on this program by going out and getting, I don't know, what is it, 6 or 7 4-star recruits
it's a
on
ton of them.
Yeah, and just in one class. And I mean, all these guys are in the same class right now. So there's an obvious. I think you could say there's some a little bit of pep in their step as far as the staff is concerned towards continuing to recruit that position heavily and continue to bolster some of that depth. So that's when you lose a guy like Jacoby Jones, you don't start getting gashed on his side of the field. You know what I mean? So again, you miss a lot of stuff when you're at the game, when you're seeing things live, trying to process so many different things. You can't possibly do it. So I'll have to continue to go back and look at stuff on the game recaps and films and kind of try to figure it out so I can have a better answer for you. But those are just my initial thoughts.
Yeah, man. So, so just looking at coaches, his defense, man, so Coach PK, he always has that big run stuff in the middle, right?
Yes.
And it seems like we just don't have that guy. We don't have a Vita Vea on this.
I.e. Vita Vea. I was just about to say.
Yes, so we don't have like a Vita Vea here, but we do have a Coburn who he is like a little bit shorter, which you would think that would help him with the leverage piece, but he gets up so high that he kind of always gets taken out of the play. But
You don't really hear his name called.
No, and a guy like that who was a consensus guy, like a high 4-star kid, man, he should definitely be in the mix. But it seems like once we start to get our players in, which I hate to hear this story because it's like the same thing over and over, right? Charlie gets
Yeah.
here, he has to get his players in. Then Tom gets here, he has to get his players in, and now it's Sark. So Sark, he's doing what he has to do on the offensive side of the ball. He is scheming around the talent that
Mm.
we have or the talent that we don't have, and he's making it happen. You can't get mad at you know our offense scoring 48 points, right? Against OU, 70 points against TCU. No, I'm sorry, against Tech. 34. Against TCU or what have you. But it's the defensive side of the ball, and it's like I just don't understand how we can't scheme around the folks that we have now.
Hmm.
So when Caleb came in, bro, it was like he faced a 3-man front. Uh, no rushing the quarterback the whole time,
Right.
and we let a green freshman just tear us up. Like
Which
we
is
put no pressure on him.
in a game of that magnitude. Again, if you haven't ever been to it, you can't possibly understand the
Yeah,
energy, the emotion. Everything's just different about that game. So that's literally all I can say to point to how in the hell does something like that happen when you have a true freshman coming, cold off the bench without a week of getting preps and reps with the ones, right? How does something like that happen? Maybe just good fortune that OU lucked into like what his skill set is as far
man.
as uh, what he can do with the football in his hands on the ground,
Yeah,
and just getting numbers advantages in the box with him carrying the rock and Texas just having tackling issues and not filling gap assignments, man. So there wasn't an answer for that. What they prepared to do all week under PK, and that's a credit to him, was slow down Spencer Rattler, and they damn sure did that. And
yeah,
guess what? Spencer got benched for the second consecutive year in this game.
yeah,
So they deserve a little bit of credit there. And I also want to just say I've had a couple conversations with some fans um, on Twitter as well. And again, it's all just us being maybe nitpicky. You can say that if you want. It's something that is necessary for a fan base and a program that has expectations like this one. You gotta critique, you gotta nitpick, and you always gotta learn from the lessons um, and the losses. Right? There's always more lessons to be learned in
yeah.
games that you lose. They just sting a little bit more. But I would say this, and maybe get your input on it. I don't know if I haven't seen you comment on that yet, but I had a couple conversations on Twitter. The defense wasn't helped out at all by the offense's inability to stay on the field in the second half.
That is true. Definitely
So
true. Yeah,
my initial thought was, you again, things get jumbled and you miss and can't exactly remember the order in which things occur when you go to a game and see it in person. Just so much going on, so much to try to process. But I thought it was 3 consecutive drives. A fan corrected me, and maybe I can get his name here. I don't want to lose my train of thought and spend too much time looking for that. But anyways, he corrected me and said it was 3 out of 4 drives that stalled and went 3 and out. So that was my initial thought without really digging deep and looking to know for sure. Texas scored 38 points in the first half, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
For the remainder of the game. So the first 30 minutes of the game, you got 38 points.
Mm-hmm.
For 28 minutes and 30 seconds, the second 28 and 30 28-minute, 30-second mark of that game, you had 3 points until the
Yeah,
very end when they went and got a touchdown when they needed to. And credit again to Xavier Worthy for bouncing back, making 2 big catches on that drive after fumbling. Can't even imagine what that must have felt like for him. But that just kind of shows you the player he's going to be for us. Just the mental fortitude to kind of,
yeah.
go
Just to
make a
bounce
big play
back
and
from
bounce
that.
back. Exactly. Yeah.
And
So
so one thing else, man.
your thoughts on that, like that take, maybe just the defense getting a little
Yeah,
bit of a pass because I think we got to say it. Steve Sarkisian got out coached by Alex Grinch in the second half. I think
in the
that's
second
fair.
half he did. Like
Yeah.
definitely. So I watched it from home, and so when I saw like everything go on, it was 3 out of the 4 drives, went for 3 and out. And it's like our offense they just didn't readjust. It's like we
Mm-hmm.
didn't try to get Bijan the ball here in the flats. We got kind of stagnant. We didn't, well, actually, some of the plays weren't too bad, man. It was just we got hit with some horrible penalties that kind of set us back. I think we had one play where I think Bijan actually rushed the ball for like 6 yards or so, but that play was a holding. I
Yeah.
think the next drive
So instead
started
of
off with a
2nd and
false
4.
start, you know. And
Yeah.
so, so here we are starting off at 1st and 20, like on one drive. Then on the next drive, a false start. So now starting off at 1st and 15. In the third drive, I think we did like 3 straight passes or something. So, yeah, definitely. They did not help the defense at all. But also with the defense, man, um, they didn't guard Caleb Williams too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that they didn't do was the secondary did not track the ball when he was just throwing up those Hail Marys. So it was just like
Oh my
it was
gosh.
like Hail Mary,
I
like
was
okay,
going crazy on some of that. Like,
you know,
I'm not even going to mention his name. I think we all know it. There's a weird fine line that I always struggle with. I'm not trying to like bash guys, but
yeah,
one player in particular, man, it seems like when the ball's in the air, he doesn't really know how to go attack it and go win it and go make a play.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, that was driving us crazy too in the game.
yeah. It was just like we bailed them out a lot. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
I can't knock it. Caleb Williams saw single man coverage, wide
He
receiver on the safety. He
gave his
throws it
guy a
up and he's
chance.
saying, hey, my guy has the best, op to get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If not, it could be a pass interference, and that's
Yep.
15 yards. And in that instance, if I were BJ Foster, I would have slammed him down the ground and just get a pass interference, not give up a 40, I think it was like a 44-yard
40
pass,
something. Yeah.
get the
And
15 yards,
in
live
college,
for
it's only
another day.
15, so it's not a
Yeah, it's
spot
only
foul.
15 in college, right?
Yeah,
So, there's some teachable moments there, man.
for sure.
But credit to Caleb Williams, even that ball that I think he threw to Mims there in the end zone, where it was like the toe tap in the end zone touchdown. That ball was right in the corner where only his guy could get it. And how in the
Mm-hmm.
hell did he get the ball that perfectly thrown in that area? I have no idea, but he did it.
He did.
There's a couple instances, man, where he fumbled the ball off the snap, and there was no panic in him. He kept his composure, picked the ball up, basically threw it in, for like another touchdown. So it was like
Yeah.
touchdown after touchdown. And so it's almost like our guys didn't know how to prepare for a guy like Caleb Williams.
And yeah.
He was a beast. I think OU found their quarterback, and it just sucks that they had to find him against us. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah. What
they
are the
got their
odds, man?
quarterback now, and it is what it is. But
Oh, yeah.
hopefully we can see them in December. I don't even want to look that far though. I wanted to look to Oklahoma State and see
Yeah.
what we can do there. But hold on, let's check some questions here, man. I got a bunch
Yeah.
of
Is there a way
comments here
that I
from
can
folks.
view that too? I was just thinking about it.
Go to the live session.
Okay.
Like on YouTube. You just got to mute it. But definitely you can see the comments as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but let me pull some up.
See, I'm still learning how to figure out all this technology stuff.
There's here we go. Cal. It's a tough loss, man, and tough one to swallow. That stat on our defense from Anwar is beyond sobering. Yeah, it's pretty bad, man.
What was the stat? The one where he just kind of highlighted. I think he said the total yards and total.
Yeah, man. So basically, Texas
600
being
plus.
600 plus yards this game, ninth in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst defense that we've had. It's over the past, I think, 10 years, worse than anything that Vince Bedford's put up, worse than anything that Chris Ash has put up, worse
Todd
than anything,
Orlando.
worse than anything that Todd Orlando. So yeah, it's a barn burner, man.
There's getting beat, there's getting blown out, and there's getting your soul snatched by losing a game while giving up 300 plus yards on the ground. That's happened to this team twice this year.
Yes, definitely.
And I'll never forget the way I felt last year watching the Browns do the same thing to our Dallas Cowboys. And I was very loud about though that is there's a level of want to just nastiness that comes from not letting that happen. Like that should never happen to you.
Yeah.
Especially not on Sundays. In college it's a little bit different because you can have just different caliber athletes in certain circumstances that just it's just impossible for the team on the on the receiving end of that to do anything about it. But yeah, man, like I said, there's a clear tackling problem on this team. I noticed it last week too at TCU. There was a few blatant missed tackles and not only in open space, but even like first contact at the line of scrimmage, guys just coming in and it's almost like the juices are flowing. They're trying to make the big hit lower in the shoulder, but at the end of the day, man, you got to wrap up.
Got to wrap up,
especially
man.
especially especially with tailbacks like OU has, and Kennedy Brooks, right? But you've fundamentals, like Texas, just they haven't been good enough to go out there and lose sight of fundamental defense in football. And just tackling is one of the
Yeah, that's
first
like
things you're taught.
that's like the
So
first thing taught.
yeah.
Also, man, I think the problem is too is you see the guys who haven't been, actually in this program and
Hmm.
see how they're doing. So I like Darian Dunn. I think he's tough. I think he's physical. I think
Right.
Dunn hits. Dunn. When Dunn comes to tackle you, he tackles you.
You feel it.
Um, you know, I just think that these kids, like this is some of these kids' third or fourth DC here over their 4, like possibly 5 years, right?
Hmm.
And so they're getting taught something different by all these different DCs. So Chris Ash brought in the rugby style tackling,
Yep.
right? I don't think Todd Orlando taught tackling. And I'm just being
he
honest,
just
man.
he just taught blitzing from
Yeah, he just taught blitzing and
all
and
every
and
level on all areas of the field.
yeah, and like it was just like big hit, right? So
Yep.
just everybody go for the big hit. But the guys who haven't been, like, I don't want to say tainted, but the guys who haven't been taught by these 3 previous staffs, um, they're doing fine in this
Hmm.
program on the offense and the defensive side of the ball, right?
That's
So
a great point.
yeah, so like look at Worthy. Worthy, for example, let's be honest, he is our playmaker. I mean,
Hmm.
so it's Bijan and Worthy, right? So just looking at Worthy yesterday, even after he made that mistake and didn't down the ball in the end zone,
Yep.
he took accountability for it. The camera panned over to him, and he was looking at the player saying, "My fault, that's my fault. I got you guys though. That's my fault." He took
Okay.
full accountability. So this is an 18-year-old kid,
Right. That's
who didn't
maturity.
pout, didn't go and sit at the end of the bench.
Yeah.
He said, "My fault. Let's go get it." And what did
I
he
love
do in that
that.
next drive? He got it. So that's a dog, man. We need some dogs on this team.
Yeah.
And you're seeing a kid who's 6 foot, maybe 165 pounds, has
Hmm.
some of the biggest dog of any player on this team. And he showed up in the biggest game that he probably ever played
Oh yeah.
in a neutral site that, just like Lando said, guys, if you've never been to that game, it is constantly loud. It
Hmm.
is a game like you have never been to. My wife's from
It's
Alabama.
so unique, man.
Yeah,
It's so unique.
she's a Bama fan. She's been to the, Bama Auburn game, but like I always tell her it's different because when you're at Bama, it's quiet when they're in the field because you don't want to screw up with your team, and
Exactly.
it's loud when the defense on the field. In that game and the fairgrounds, it's loud 100% of the time.
Constant.
It's constant loudness.
Constant.
So
40
for this kid to
40,000 people going
yeah,
nuts,
yeah, going
regardless
nuts
of what happens. That's what
all
y'all
the
have to
time.
think about. Like the aspect of 50-50, the fan base split, right? It's literally split 50-50 right down the 50-yard line. And it's 40,000 people just in a constant shouting match and celebration. It's
It's
different.
wild.
And I don't think there's anything like it in modern
I don't think so
modern
either.
American football these days because of the neutral site. That's the difference, and that's the key.
Yep. Yep. That's the
Special.
difference. All right, man. So look, we got a question here.
I
So from
love
Peter
that
Lyon.
question.
Yeah, Peter. Okay, so Whittington possibly out. Do you think we'll see Harrison on the field this season? And number 2, why didn't we use more swing passes after the first CD? Hey, Orlando, I don't think we're going to see Harrison. I think the
Nope.
guy who needs to step in there is number 7. So me and you
Keelan
talked about
Robinson.
this earlier, man.
Yep.
Keelan Robinson, he needs some playing time. He's the fast. Well, I wouldn't say the fastest guy on the team, but he is one of the fastest guys on the team.
I think it's actually safe to say that he is, right? We have a verified four.
I think
Is it
Tyler
a
Owens might be the
4.29?
fastest. I don't know. I think Tyler Owens might be the fastest though.
You still think so?
Tyler's
I
like
know he's got that.
he's got
Yeah,
the
that
juice.
100-meter. What
was
was
like
his
10,
time at senior
let's say
year?
10-2 or something like that. It was
10-2.
ridiculous. It was stupid fast. Yeah,
That's
probably.
faster than DK Metcalf's Olympic qualifier that
Yeah, man.
he ran
Man.
this summer. So if that gives you guys any idea of how fast Tyler Owens is in a straight line, at
Damn.
least,
Hold on, Lando.
yeah.
I got somebody talking some mess. Chris with a
Uh-oh.
K is in here.
I was waiting for him, man.
Chris,
I
thanks
was
for the
wondering if he was
$5,
going to hop
Chris.
in.
You're my homie. Thanks for the 5. Let me see what your question is. But hold on. Let me answer Peter's questions first, man. I think
Okay.
Keelan Robinson is definitely going to be well, I shouldn't say gonna be, but he needs to get more playing time. Anytime
Hmm.
he's on the field, he always stretches, and he always shows up when it comes to special teams,
Yes.
always. And, and
Yes.
and usually when guys that are in your 2 deep, 3 deep that are showing up on special teams as well, giving it 100%, you usually kind of give those guys a little bit of the doubt and play them a little bit more. Um,
Right.
yeah, but I'm with you there, Peter. I think
So
that's going to be Keelan Robinson. I would hope so.
yeah, directly replacing Whittington, right? Like that's what you would want to see. We agree on that, I think, right?
Yeah. Here we go. Chris with a K. Can we talk about Drake Stoops? The future. I didn't call him that. I did not call Steve. I mean, not Steve.
I
Chris.
was living.
Steven called him the future GA.
Yeah.
But he looked like Moses.
Oh my gosh, man.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna get off your comment here, Chris. Okay, Drake Stoops. Hey, you know what? Congratulations on the win, coming from a great heritage of coaches. Hey, Chris, I will give him that. Thanks for the comment, Chris. Thanks for the $5, man. I appreciate you. But hey, we got business to handle, Chris. Next website, next episode, me, you, Seth, and Steven again. Steven should be wearing the OU gear. I didn't sign up for that bet, so I'm not doing
Yeah, he talked
it.
about it. That was one of the things we talked about after the game. He said, I'm a man of my word. A bet's a bet. So I'm gonna have to follow through with my word on camera for at least the first couple minutes.
For
So
the first couple minutes.
yeah.
All right. So what else we got? I got another thing. We haven't had a good defense since '05. I beg to differ. I think Bedford's first year was a great defense, and I think Tyler
Forgot about
Lando's first year
Bedford.
was actually pretty good as well. But
So can I
yeah,
comment on that?
yeah,
Something something I think is important to remember. You touched on it a second ago, but I wanted to just give you props for the point because I think it needs to be heard for sure. As many times as it can be said. But we actually heard Peyton Manning and Eli Manning talk about this a couple weekends ago on Monday Night Football. They were basically acknowledging with Matthew Stafford, he was on featured with them, and he was just kind of saying, the transition from going from team to team isn't necessarily the most difficult part as far as learning the new system and grasping the new playbook and the offense, right? Being
yeah,
being fully caught up on what you're supposed to do in a new environment. But Stafford and Manning elaborated on that and basically said that it's more difficult to kind of forget the old playbook than it is to learn the new playbook, if that makes sense. So, like to your point about a lot of these players, I think BJ Foster's one of them. The seniors on the guys that have been here for 4 years now have had 3 different defensive coordinators, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
So and whether or not it's been three or two or three, like still, we're 6 games into the Steve Sarkisian era, along with the rest of his coaching staff. So it's going to take a little bit of time for these players to be playing at 100%, not only confidence but their ability to see things and react without having to think. That takes time to kind of adapt. So I just wanted to elaborate on what you said earlier. I think that's important.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yes, yeah. So Michael Lynn, he just had a comment too. So missed tackles and the gaps by the linebackers and safeties made us a little bit.
Yep,
Yes,
that's what I
so
was
we already
saying
kind of
earlier.
talked about that. Billy Gamble, hey man, thanks for actually joining. He's on here all the time, man. So lack of pass rush and poor offensive line plays a major problem. Yes, let's talk about the offensive line, brother.
Okay.
That offensive line, man, our tackles, um, they were turnstiles. On
Yes.
Saturday. Um,
Steve was losing
that
his mind. So was Homer.
that that has to get fixed, man. So I know that that Carrick, he got pushed out to right tackle.
Mhm.
And Kerstetter actually moved in to guard. With Carrick not having the longest of arms, right? I actually
I
talked
think
this
he's a
about a
guard
homer as
anyway.
well. I think Carrick's a guard. I think
Yeah,
you put Carrick in there at the left guard. You keep Kerstetter at the tackle
yeah,
because he is probably your best pass blocking tackle here in the team.
he is.
Um, and Carrick is somebody who has some nastiness in him. He has some
Mhm.
dog in him too, but he's just not up to par yet to go against a Nick Benito, right?
Right.
He abused him. He
Mhm.
abused him all game. He abused Christian Jones all game too. It's like um Carrick has that dog in him. He is a road grader, runner, whatever you want to say. Put him at the left guard, put him next to
Mhm.
Christian Jones, who can also run black pretty well. Keep Kerstetter at the left tackle. At the right tackle, so that you at least have one of your tackles short up, so Casey doesn't have to run for his life the whole freaking game.
Right.
You know.
So, yes, I completely agree. Now, this is a thought that I had as I was just kind of recapping and trying to break down what I just saw and, try to make sense of everything, right? But I have spoken already, and I think even posted on Twitter that I'm never a fan, like, from an offensive line group, like when you're looking at the unit of the offensive line, when one guy goes down, having to fill two holes. And what I mean by that is, like you just alluded to, Denzel Okafor gets hurt in the TCU game, right? Andre Cart comes in, fills in at right tackle. They move Kerstetter from the right tackle position to the left guard position. Now, I'm never a fan of that because, like you said, there's the continuity and the ability just to communicate, everybody being on the same page, being used to working with the guy that's right next to you. It matters and it means something. And so that to me is like you're now you have a brand new left guard and a brand new right tackle as opposed to just a brand new left guard.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
To that point though, here's what my question to you would be, or just to anyone listening, if they want to comment, man, is could the decision to do that be not necessarily a reflection of what Andre Carrick's ability is at left guard or right tackle, but could it be that they just, given the struggles that Christian Jones has had at the left tackle position, they wanted to provide some stability via Derek Kerstetter and put him next to Christian Jones to kind of give him a little bit of help and protect that side, the blind side.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Is that feasible? What do you think?
Yeah, so honestly, I think that's exactly what happened. So, Sark said, in his press conference on was it Thursday, he said that once he moved Kerstetter over to the left guard, Christian Jones played a lot better. And so maybe it was him knowing that there was somebody who was really, good at their position. He felt more comfortable. So it's almost like he played with no effort.
Yeah.
Against TCU. Now that wasn't going to work against OU because OU just has better players. But he felt more comfortable being next to Kerstetter, and he said that his play was a little bit better due to him being next to him.
So Sark actually mentioned that?
Yeah, he actually mentioned that, that Jones played more free having Kerstetter next to him.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There's my answer then, I guess.
Hey, I'm with you on this, man. Now you got a guy who, Kerstetter's a smart guy. He's been in the program here, for 5 years now. He's a smart guy. He knows, probably how to play every position. He's played center forward. He's played guard. He's played tackle. So he knows that. But it's still to throw somebody midway through the game and say, hey, man, learn all this stuff you learned this week. Don't even think about that now. Go back to guard and do you. Have fun, do you?
Good luck.
So, I would have loved to have seen, Carrick there at the left guard just because he's a little bit more nasty and dirtier. And
I agree.
Definitely have Kerstetter sitting there at the tackle position because, he is our best tackle here in the team. Let's see, Buddha. I gotta comment, Buddha. Okay, so the difference between OU and Texas, said OU got that dog in them. They just never gave up and just took it from Texas. Texas is missing that. And Buddha, I'm not going to disagree with you on that, brother.
I can't disagree either.
You know what I'm going to say? The guys who got that dog in them at Texas are our newer guys. Like we just said, we talked about Worthy. Worthy has dog in him. Worthy is nasty. Casey got dog in him too. He's not new, but Casey just has something in him. I love Casey's game. I am glad he's the starter. Nothing against Hudson Card, but I love Casey's game. I just think a guy who has kind of waited their turn, has been humble, didn't leave when he could have, and he just stayed the course. You see the team elevates around him. The team, it's just they follow him. Some people get followed and some people search for people to follow them. And Casey is one of those guys that it seems like the guys just kind of rally around him. And then Casey is very poised in the pocket as well. So Casey has dog in him. Worthy has dog in him on offense. I think Jay Witt has some dog in him. He's probably gone for the season now, right?
With the clavicle, right?
Yeah, so when it comes to guys who just got nastiness in them and some dog in them, Jonathan Brooks got dog in him, Keelan got dog in him, Roshan has dog in him. That whole running back room is good. Bijan too.
Mhm.
But the guys that Sark is bringing in here, those guys, he knows what he wants, right? He
Yeah, he's
knows
got a
exactly
type.
what he wants.
He's got a type. Yeah.
Yeah. He has a type, and those guys are coming in and they're playing nasty, But it's getting the old culture and mindset, I think, out of the players from the previous staffs. And it's just like Sark said, they got to trust the process.
Yep.
You got to
And
trust the process.
and it does take time, instilling your culture and just getting guys to believe. So, like, to Buddha's point, man, I actually talked with my buddy Alex Copeland, who I did the split down the 50 preview with before this matchup. And that was one of the things that we talked about a lot after the game. Is just, I acknowledged, OU adjusted like the champions that they are, but they also, they never stopped believing because of the 6 straight conference titles, right? Their recent dominance of this game, in recent history, at least, right? So,
Yeah.
no matter how big of a lead you've got, if you're Texas, there's always that feeling of, it's almost like,
No lead is safe.
yeah,
No lead
exactly.
is safe. We did
That's
it
how,
last year. We did it
yeah.
last year to them.
2018, the game we beat Kyler too. I mean, we had at least a 2-possession lead for most
Yeah.
of that game, and then that was the year when Kyler had that 63-yard touchdown run, breaking up down the left sideline. I'll never
still
forget
see that damn run in my
Gus
mind.
Johnson's call of that one was special. But yeah, man. So it's just like, Texas has to continue to establish that sort of that, like, that dog mentality, to where they not only do they have the pieces in place with the players on the field, the coaching staff, which is even more important now for this team, in my opinion, just based off of what we've seen from the years past with the transition from Mac Brown. But everything's in place, man. So it's just going to continue to take time for the players to really just believe that. And I think that buy-in is starting to happen. We're starting to see it. They got dismantled on national television in Fayetteville against Arkansas.
Yeah.
And then they rallied back, and they can, they shut out Rice the way they should and put up 58 points. And then they beat a Big 12 opponent the following week, the way that we haven't seen Texas do ever, actually,
time.
except for the I think the conference title game in 2005 against Colorado was the last time Texas scored 70 on a conference opponent. So,
yeah.
And then just the effort too. The special teams is a lot different. You alluded to that earlier. And like, just the not giving up, like plays like the one Deshaun Jameson made, tracking down Kennedy Brooks and almost getting that turnover there would have probably sealed the game if he wasn't down.
Yeah. That would have sealed the game.
Because, that would have just, imagine the momentum swing of that play, right? It's like, OU's knocking on the door. Next thing they know, Texas has a chance to go up 3 or 4 touchdowns. But plays like that, man, you've got to just continue to have that sort of thing happen, and making the belief on the sideline just that much stronger and greater. So
yeah, definitely. So plays like that kind of show that the culture is, I would guess start to kind of shift a little bit. But we just got to have some guys, I think, on the defensive side of the ball as well, man, that I always tell my folks, man, I'm in the military, right? So I always tell my folks, look, I would rather slow you down than to make you speed up. Right. And so I want you like balls to the wall 24/7. I want you fast. I would rather slow you down than like to have to put my foot in your butt and tell you to get some stuff done. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's what I love about Overshawn. Overshawn is fast all the time. He might miss a couple tackles, but it's not because of effort. Right. It's never because of effort. He's flying all over the place, So I think the defense needs more of that, but once they do kind of get a person, like once they do kind of like get somebody wrapped up, they usually swarm a lot more than what we've seen here in the past. But they got to clean it up, man, because 660 yards is just not a good look, especially against a second string quarterback, a true freshman who didn't even play his senior year of high school. So this is his first time playing in a big game since his junior year of high school. We as Texas, we can't let that happen. But let's look at Texas Homer's his statement here. So Grinch made an excellent second half adjustment and turned off the outside zone for us. First half, we were gashing them on the outsides, and that got corrected. We didn't counter with effective inside RPOs. Homer, you are totally right, brother.
Bro, he was preaching that like repeatedly
Yeah.
while it was happening.
Yeah.
And he caught it. He caught it way before anybody else in that stadium did. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So I would love for him to maybe like elaborate, because that's what I was trying to figure out, what the adjustment was specifically for Alex Grinch. Was it did it have to do with just maybe slowing down their front, like just penetrating the gaps and getting upfield? Was it a just a schematical adjustment? Like, just, I don't know. I would love for Homer to elaborate if he can. I know there's only so many characters it allows you to post in
Homer,
here, but
Homer, he'll make a video about it here
he
probably
will.
tomorrow.
He will. Yeah, but
Homer's
so
that guy, man. Homer's that guy, and I'm pretty sure everybody on here follows Homer.
yeah,
He's the guy who I'm always texting during the games and after the games. He's a good dude, man. But yeah,
good people. Good people.
yeah, it's like OU's whole strategy for the second half was to take away Bijan, or just to take away what we were doing, and we never countered. We never countered. We just stuck with the same thing. They did great at at like actually stopping that, but we didn't counter, we didn't scheme, I guess for the entire third quarter, half of the fourth quarter, and it's like in the fourth quarter, like that second half of the fourth quarter, we just kind of bust out of our shell and it's like, yo, this ain't working, let's try something different, and we tried something different, and it was like, get X the ball, like get Zay the ball. Like, he's that guy. Get Zay the ball. Get number 8 the ball, man.
How about that dude named what's his name again? Remind me. Keelan something. Start with a K.
Man,
Keelan Robinson.
Dude, he has to get the ball.
Single touch yesterday.
No, I don't think so either. Which is it's crazy because we used the backs pretty well throughout the first 4 games, right? We would interchange them, even like most of those were blowouts, but even against Arkansas, so Rojo ran the ball, so Keelan ran the ball, as well. Rice, everybody ran the ball. TCU, it was the Bijan show with I think 2 carries for Rojo.
I think
Saturday
Rojo had what? 3
no,
yesterday?
Saturday 0. The only running back that had carries against OU was Bijan. That was it.
That's it.
Only running back that had carries was Bijan.
I swear
Rojo didn't have a carry. Keelan didn't have a carry. It was only Bijan.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
He was the only one to have carries. So it's like it's getting to the point to where it's that happy medium, right? So when Tom Herman was here, we hated the rotations, right? We hated that we had 15 wide receivers play like in one game. We hated that we had Bijan going off, and then as soon as he goes off, we take him out and we put somebody else in, right? But Sark is like a guy who is like a coach in the NBA who is playing in the playoffs right now, right? And we all know in the regular season, you let everybody play, right? You got like a rotation of probably 8 to 9 players, right? Playoff time, you shorten that rotation down to 6 or 7 players.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what he's doing here for Big 12 play. He's like, okay, I know who my guys are. Worthy, Josh Moore, Marcus Washington, Jay Witt, Bijan. You guys are going to be on the field all the time. All right. When you're tired, Rojo, you're going to come in.
Moochie Dixon and
Moochie. You'll get some play when Witt's tired.
Marcus Washington,
yeah. So it seems like he is shortening up that whole rotation here. Like as soon as we got into the Big 12 play, but we'll see what's going to happen. I am an advocate to have Keelan Robinson play some because he just can't coach speed, man. You can't coach speed, and he has a ton of it.
Definitely.
Let's see. Let's take some more comments, man.
Yeah, I don't know if Homer knows. Like, did OU allocate more personnel to the box, or I mean, what? It was drastic. Texas could not do anything, especially in the second half on the ground. It's like, zone stretch right, third and long pass, which you can't be behind the sticks against that pass rush either. But here we go.
Yeah, okay, so here's KD. KD's he's a loyal listener too, man. What's up, KD? So Keelan Robinson has to be involved more in the passing game. Yeah, most definitely.
Agreed.
Same thing that we said.
Yep, agreed. And there was I had a debate, or not a debate, just a chat with someone else on Twitter about this as well. It's like, I think Keelan Robinson can do everything that Jordan Whittington can. Maybe just a little bit less physical because he's a smaller body.
Yeah.
But as far as Jay Witt, he's kind of got that running back mentality in him too. That he played a ton of running back in high school. So I think the transition is there, and just the ability to just creating separation. The question was, can he run routes as well as Jordan Whittington? And I can't say definitively because I don't have access to their tape to study it, but I don't consider Jordan Whittington to be an elite route runner. I just think he's great at creating separation, whether that be using his size to do that, or along with just when the ball is in his hands, that's when he's really at his best. And I think Keelan Robinson can do both of those things, with the ball in his hands in space, make big plays, and then also just use his elite athleticism to get open. You don't have to necessarily be a fine-tuned, well-oiled receiver
like route
at
runner.
this level as far as your footwork and technique are concerned to make plays happen.
Yeah. Hey, here's another interesting comment. So the grades in pass blocking I've seen were out of 100, 8.2 for Jones and 12.6 for Carrick. Wow.
8.2? Is that like a PFF grade? Or...
That's got to be PFF, right, KD? That's
so
that's got to be.
That's interesting too, because last week again, that game, Trevon Diggs against the Panthers had 2 picks, right? And I noticed, I remember Jeff Kavanaugh mentioned it too. He said Trevon Diggs got an overall grade for that game of a 57 or something, or 60, something like
it's
crazy.
How can you get that when?
So it's take that with a grain of salt, maybe. But
I want to trust that 8.2 and 12.6.
Yeah. I mean, that's real.
I'm surprised Casey got 388 yards, man. I was telling Homer this earlier today. I was like, hey, I got to give him all the props, possible, because there's no way in hell that he's supposed to get that many yards with that many people in his face every play, every snap, So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 8.2 and 12.6.
I thought he played well. I mean, he played admirably, all things considered. He was efficient. He took care of the football, and he made some pretty tight window throws, and went down and led the offense on a scoring drive when he absolutely needed to. So, there was definitely a lot of positives for Casey Thompson.
Yeah. Hey, KD, one more thing from KD. So he said prior to the season, everyone said that the DL, so the defensive line was the strength of the team. Hey, KD, that was because they were going against our O-line. And I think what we've seen is that every team that we've played, they have abused our offensive line. So, it is what it is. I think that was just, our coaches thinking that our line was better than what they were. And that they were only getting pushed around because our defensive line was as good as they thought that they were. And, guys, what you got to, actually understand about coaches is you see, Bo Davis and you see a Cal Flood. They have recruited all these players that are at Texas. When they were at their previous schools, they were recruiting these kids, so, so Flood is looking at a Denzel Okafor and it's like, oh man, I remember when I was at Rutgers, I was recruiting him. I know what he can be, a national top 150 player. The other guy just couldn't get him to where he needed to be, but I can. Coaches are arrogant, guys. They are arrogant. So Bo Davis sees his guys. He's like, oh man, I wanted some Coburn, man. I wanted Alfred Collins and Vernon Bryden yesterday, and now I got him. I lost him to Texas, but now I got him. So they see that they actually wanted these guys bad when they were in high school. They recruited them heavy. Every school in the country wanted all those guys that I just named. You come to Texas, you have those guys. And so you're thinking that I got this big mound of clay that I can mold because I know the talent that is in there. And yes, the talent's in there, but it's just getting the prior things that were taught to them out of the system first before they can buy fully into your process. And then we can start having a discussion about having players that can actually show up and do what Bo Davis wants them to do on the line, show up and do what Cal Flood wants them to do also.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's what, like we said, you gotta coach the old stuff out of them before you can coach the new stuff into them. It's kind of like a catch-22, a weird balancing act there that you got to do. That's just part of the process.
Yeah. Let me look at Rabbit's thing. So Rabbit Jones says he read that there were 13 missed tackles. I think
See,
13,
I
13 missed
thought it was
tackles in 2 plays.
way more than that. Yeah, like I said, there was 5 on the opening drive on one of those carries from Kennedy Brooks,
I
man.
don't know. I don't know what they were looking at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, 13 missed tackles. Like I literally counted on one play. I counted 4 missed tackles on one play. I mean, it was like
Mhm.
boom, boom, boom. It was like Kennedy Brooks was like, like in like a video game. He was just like bouncing off people. So yeah. I literally counted 4 on one play, and I guarantee you that that wasn't just a third. No. It was more than 13, man. Let me
Had to
see
be.
who.
And another
Yeah,
crazy thing about the D line too, and I'll make this quick. That or yeah, so like in for us, our D line and their performance and their inability to create pressure and penetrate, right? We're wondering why we're not hearing the names like the guys up front that we thought were going to be dudes for us. We're not hearing their name called very often. So what's going on there? But going into this game, the biggest question mark for OU was what? Their offensive line, right? So like if
yeah.
you're Texas, you're feeling good about
I'm feeling good.
being able to make them pay and get after Spencer Rattler, but they were starting a redshirt freshman, and Andrew Rame, I believe is his name. Their center that is now replacing Creed Humphrey,
Yeah, it was a beast.
who's snapping the football to Patrick Mahomes right now, actually on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah,
So tells you how important he was. But that OU fans were nervous. They were legitimately concerned about their offensive line going into this game.
yeah.
And it was a non-factor, and they bullied and controlled the line of scrimmage. And 336 yards on the ground later, Texas blows a 21-point lead.
Oh man, 28-7. My
So
wife, she was like, "You guys got this." I said, "Shut up."
shut up. Yeah,
I was like,
don't be
"Shut up."
jinxing it.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
don't do it.
So I saw Ian Boyd also too. He commented on that. He said that not all 21-point leads are created equal. That wasn't his actual quote, but that's what he was getting at.
Yeah,
Because Texas had 14 points before there was 13 minutes left remaining in the first
yeah, man.
quarter.
Yeah, they had 14 points in the first couple minutes of the game.
So,
You
that's
know,
a lot different than kind of just methodically marching down the
yeah,
field twice and, having a 14-0 lead to start the second quarter, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a
A lot
little
of time
different, but
left in the
still.
game. A
Yeah,
lot of
no
time left in
excuse.
the game.
No
But
excuse.
also talking about the second half of those 14 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the special teams unit. All right. So we have all given Jeff Banks a bunch of praise, and I have too. I think he's turned the whole special teams unit around. But yesterday we ran the ball out of the end zone, I think 2 times in a row, and it's like at the most pivotal parts of the game. So Roshan ran it out, and I think he got to the 16-yard line or so, and I'm like, why is he running the ball out? Like, down it, get to the 25, make some things happen. And then on the next one, of course, that's when Worthy got the ball, ran it out, and actually fumbled the ball. And then, that's when OU goes and takes the lead, right? So look, it is at that moment in that game, that is when your coordinator, your special teams coordinator needs to say, hey, no matter what, you get that ball, you down it. I don't care
Take a
how
knee.
bad, I just take a damn knee.
Fair
You know what I'm
catch,
saying?
something. Yeah.
Especially after Rojo just did it the previous series, didn't get nothing but 16 yards. You
Unbelievable.
have to tell your freshman, put a knee down, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Put a knee down.
And also in that corner or that part of the field backed up into OU's side of the stadium.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so much louder. So like if something does go wrong and you miss an assignment on your
You can't even hear. You can't hear.
yeah, you can't hear. But so like let's say, like in Roshan's case, right? He has the ball, got it to the 16-yard line, you said?
Yeah, like
As
like
opposed
16,
to
15, 16-yard line. It wasn't even
as
to the
opposed to
20.
as opposed to the 20 or the 25, it's 5-10 yards closer
Yeah, to a score.
towards all the noise than you are otherwise. So I think there's like a little bit of strategy involved in some of those decisions that were made on the special teams part of it as well. Like, you got to consider, let's especially with the lead we have, why are we taking any sort of risk?
Yeah.
Let's reduce all risk, be smart about the area of the field that we're receiving from and starting our drives from, because that was also an issue as well. There was some communication that happened. Texas took I think a delay of game penalty deep into their own territory as well.
Yeah.
Which, you know, the noise is a factor, but again, as coaches, you can eliminate some of the risks that you know is attributed by some of like the decisions that you make. You know, so
Yeah. And that's exactly what OU did. You know, like
mhm.
if you notice, we weren't kicking the ball out the end zone. Like they were like basically fair catching the ball like at the 5 and 10 yard line. They were like, hey, you know
Their
what? I'm not
fans
gonna
were
even
pissed
run.
about that too.
I'm
By
not
the way,
gonna
actually,
run. I'm just gonna take it at 25. I trust
yeah,
my offense. You know,
yeah,
I trust my offense.
but they
You know,
did
so
credit.
they were doing it the smart way. You
Hmm.
know, hey, look, get the ball. Let's get it to 25. This is a hell of an environment because people need to realize um, this was Spencer Rattler's, let's keep it real, his first shootout. Last year, I don't count that. There were no fans in the stands. You know, when he got pulled from that game last year, that that place would have been rocking with 80 to 100,000 people in the stands. He would have never came back in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have the true, experience of being in that game last year. You know, so
Yeah.
this year he gets the full experience. This was his first time there, and I think Lincoln knew that, and so he was just like, "Look, hey, look, we're gonna just make this as smooth as possible, as calm as possible. Let's just get the ball. Get our quarterback comfortable. He hasn't been in this environment ever because he didn't, like of course last year he played in it, but there was nobody in the stands, right?
Hmm.
So he finally got the full experience, and we saw what happened.
Yep.
And to actually go about who who made the comment, Piggy Watch said the funniest thing ever was the Texas crowd chanted, "We want Caleb," and yeah, we got
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, that actually happened. Like I guess on the game day set, somebody said, and I was kind of like hovering around that area for the majority of the beginning of that. I guess they showed up at 8, but I didn't see that happen or hear that, but I did see that posted on Twitter, and I think
That's
that's
crazy,
just
isn't it?
crazy, ironic, but also just it's humbling. Like careful,
Well,
careful what you wish for. You know.
hey Buddha, that is your OU fans. If you guys wouldn't have did that, we would have never did that, right?
Hmm.
If you guys didn't scream, "We want Caleb" against West Virginia, we would have never done that.
Yeah, it was
So so
imitation and mockery at the same
hey
time.
Buddha, so that was strategy, huh? That was strategy for this game.
Well, so think about it, man. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, Texas blew a 21-point lead to a true freshman quarterback, coming in cold off the bench." While that's true, it makes things more difficult when you're trying to figure out on the fly how to slow a guy down that you didn't prepare for.
And a guy who can run, so that's what Nick Saban says.
Look at what happened with Tua and Jalen Hurts in the national
Yeah,
championship game on an even
yeah,
bigger stage than this one.
yeah, yeah. You've been prepping for a guy pretty
Completely
much
different offense with Tua.
completely different offense. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I think that's all the comments we got, man. So, man, shit.
Right at an hour. Hey, man, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, time flies, man.
I don't
Yeah,
know
we
if
need to start
we
talking about
consider
some.
this having fun, but the Cowboys certainly picked up our mojo a little bit from how we were feeling
I know,
24
right,
hours
man. I
ago.
said the Cowboys better not lose this game. I told my wife they
Golly.
better not lose this game.
Yeah. They left a lot of points on the board too, actually. So it could have been a lot uglier than it actually turned out to be.
Yeah,
But I was pumped, man. It's starting to feel different.
yeah,
Starting
cool,
to feel
man.
different.
Yeah. But hey, folks, let's go ahead and end this one because I'm going to hop on Lando's show here in just a minute, and we're going to do a Cowboys, like section on his YouTube channel, guys. So, Lando, man, appreciate you for joining in, man, and I'll see you in about 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. I appreciate you
And
having me, man. Thank
everybody,
you.
man, thank you for joining. Buddha, you are crazy, but you the homie, man. Chris, man, thanks for joining in too. And I'm gonna do my Nino's Corner outro. This is gonna be the first time anybody's seen this. So Lando, stay on
Ooh,
here.
boy.
It's gonna
Let's
be like
go.
10 seconds. It's just real simple, man. But there it is. That's just it, man.
I
Just a
love
little
it.
movie thing. Did hey, that's the outro. You missed the intro. So the intro had music and everything is brand new. But
Okay.
guys, thanks for thanks for coming out, man. And I'm out, man. Peace.
Peace.